Good. How are you doing? Couple
Doing
days till you head out, right?
yes, yes. It's coming up fast. Fast. Hopefully not so furious.
Yeah. Um, how are you feeling?
So far, good.
Yeah.
At some point things will accelerate into holy crappiness, but it's not there yet, so that's good.
Okay, I'm looking for wire. Oh, sorry. Check your cables to expect to use a US keyboard. Okay, hopefully I don't have to. I have my mouse working so I can put that down. Okay. My batteries keep on running out. I think I'm
What
good.
does that say about life?
Don't even go there. Okay. Do you need the drum?
Always a good idea.
Okay, let's do some more.
Always a good idea.
Okay. Whew. It's my son's birthday today.
Wow, how old?
He's 16.
Yay.
I have a 16-year-old and my 18-year-old just turned 18 last Friday.
Little scarier. Yay.
Now he can go to jail as an adult. It's
I
not
don't know
what you
what you make
think.
out of
It's,
that.
huh?
I don't know where you go with that one.
It's not a good place. Because at this age, you're all about risk. Okay, let me actually be quiet and pull in the spirits. Okay. Okay. Better?
Little spirit came in while you did that and took a giant bag thing of bubble wrap out of the studio. Giant roll. A spirit in her pajamas at 1 p.m.
Oh, funny.
That's moving life.
Okay, yes, exactly.
All right. Shall we dive right in?
Yeah, I'm ready. Don't forget to send your stuff. Send me your thing. I sent you my thing already.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, along with
CJ Lou from the Fired Up with CJ show.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
If you ever wanted to shake things up and make giant leaps forward, then do we have the Scare Yourself Silly show for you. Today we'll talk about getting out of the comfort zone, why you want to do it, why now's the right time, how to do it, and why scaring yourself silly might just be the best thing in the world. That plus we'll talk about work as a sangha, life's roller coaster of laughter and tears, knowing you don't know, college separation, parting with silver, and what 3 cats, a moving truck, and 2 walkie-talkies has to do with anything. So welcome back to the show, CJ. Are you ready to shine?
I am ready to shine. Woo!
Woohoo! So I guess before we dive right into things, what is your roller coaster of laughter and tears?
Oh, it's really funny. I would say that over the last year or 6 months, my focus has been about awakening my heart. And funny enough, I didn't really know what that meant. Someone had said it's about awakening your heart, and I thought, I want to do that. I'm not even sure what that means. Um, but oddly enough, I think as a result of the transition that's happening with our family, meaning that part of our life experience is now coming to a close in the next 2 years, with my youngest son going to college and my eldest son now departing this year, and and it's weird to actually have that. It's weird to have that chapter close, and this morning when I was celebrating my son's 16th birthday, I woke up and I was like, oh, it's my son's birthday. And then I just remember when he was born and uh, when they at the time, I don't know if they still have these in hospitals, they have these little clear containers. There are these clear plastic containers that the baby sits in. And this child, Caden, he was born and he was just a peaceful baby. Like, he cried a little bit, but he pretty much was like a little Zen baby. The minute he was born, he was just sitting there, and I would just look at him, just marveling at him. And I could see him through this clear plastic container looking at me. I mean, I was holding him, but for whatever reason, he was put in this plastic container and he was sleeping, or, kind of falling asleep. And I saw him, and it was just, he was so peaceful, which was so different than my youngest son, who came out screaming and was like screaming pretty much for the first, I don't know, like 30 days. He wasn't colicky, but he was just, he wasn't being fed enough food, and I was trying to nurse him and all this stuff. Anyhow, this was just such a dramatic difference. And then also, by the time you're a woman and you have a C-section and someone cuts a hole in your stomach, the second time around, you're like, well, you might as well just cut a hole in my stomach. Because I don't want to actually have the downsides of having a vaginal birth and then also have like a big scar. So I might as well just cut where it was. And so everything is planned. Like, the birth is planned. I went in at noon, at like after, a little bit after lunch, the baby was born, and it was so calm because I wasn't frantic. When you're giving birth, there's somewhat of a frantic feeling because you don't know when the baby's going to come out, and then I was trying not to have the C-section, but like that happened anyway. So there's this roller coaster. Anyway, so I was thinking about him, and I remember he was so peaceful, and I thought, oh my God, he's so peaceful. I'm going to go take a shower because I haven't taken a shower for a while. And the minute I left the room, I was like, just screaming.
Peaceful and bonded.
Yes, and bonded. And I thought about that, and it just, whatever reason, I just started crying because it was just like, wow, that was so long ago. And what a dramatic change. Like 2 years from now, he's going to be leaving me. Like, he's going to be the one walking out the door versus me walking out to the shower. And for whatever reason, that hit me. And just like, I don't even know why, but it just hit me, and I just started crying because I think when you have an awakened heart, it just feels like there's no logic. It's not rational. It's just that my heart is feeling that sense of longing for what was. And it was so sweet, and projecting. My mind is projecting to where, it's like my mind's game, projecting to where it is going to go 2 years from now with him walking out the door. So those were the tears. And they're it's really weird because the cry is not like, it's just like a bittersweet cry, where it's like you cry and you feel like, it feels like, oh my God, what a relief. Like, it's a relief to cry. I don't know how to describe it, but my whole relationship to crying has changed over time to now welcoming it and wanting it just to get the release. And it's amazing how, like, the tears come, now that my heart is opening, tears are flowing more readily and naturally, and I don't try to think about it. It's just happening. And then, like, probably 30 minutes afterwards, saw this beautiful, bright cherry tree, and it was just so gorgeous. And I said, I was walking around the lake with my husband, and I said, we have a weekly walk. So we were walking around the lake, and I said, let's just like shower ourselves in these pink petals of the cherry blossoms. And I just imagined just being surrounded by pink light, and that pink light just coming and infusing every single part of my body, mind, spirit. And I just imagined it flowing into my third eye and flowing it into my heart and then flowing it into my belly. And I was just like an ecstatic joy. So it's just amazing how these, you get these, like, the oscillations. My husband was saying, as you go on a spiritual path, the oscillations are greater. And the acceptance of whatever comes is more at peace, right? Like, before I would have been like, why am I crying? What's wrong with me? Or what, and then I'm having this ecstatic joy, like, what's happening to me? But instead it's just like, isn't that funny? Look at how crazy I am. like having these manic ups and downs, but they both feel good and natural, which is good. Anyway, so sorry, that was so long. Sorry.
That's quite all right.
Yes. So, how are you doing? How are you doing with your how roller? Are you going through a roller coaster?
Well, it's certainly a roller coaster. There's a lot of letting go. Um, there's a lot of I don't know how to describe it. The whole routine's flipped upside down. The house is flipped upside down. Everything's flipped upside down, and there's an allowance for it.
Hmm.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's stuff even on the desk, which is usually pristine for my interviews. Ah, I had my nice shrine room or sanctuary of a studio until the last couple of days, and now I thought I had taken everything out, but stuff has migrated in. The last night, my upload, which is supposed to be done by 8 p.m., is being like started at 10 p.m.
Right.
What can you do?
Yeah.
You can't worry about it. You can't sweat it. My automatic writing has gone incredibly well. I was
That's
calming the
good.
jets, so I thought on our book this week, going,
Hmm.
okay, we didn't make the draft deadline by Friday. That's okay, or by move day. And my automatic writing has been sneaking in some funny stuff. I'm there writing, going, I'm a little too tired to write. Can I go get my breakfast now? My eyes are closed. My head's against the chair. And all of a sudden it's saying your eyes are closed and your head's against the chair because in the automatic writing process, it's really a process of mindfulness and meditation. So as you feel your head against the chair, oh my gosh, and a whole chapter came falling out of me.
Wow. Wow.
So that's really cool. And it's just
Yeah.
in the acceptance of what is through this process.
Right. And knowing that there's something moving through you, whether you know it or not, whether it arrives now or 6 months from now or 2 minutes from now, it's just like, okay, well, I guess that's what's happening,
Mhm.
which is very different than maybe you would have been before, right? Maybe you would have been like, oh my gosh, I'm not hitting this deadline, or I don't know. Were you like that
There have
before?
been there have been so many radical changes. So self-imposed deadlines I used to have challenges with. Now I'm a lot better with them. Although certainly I could get stressed. Well, we want the book out for summertime, but blah 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 blah. But maybe there's such a high level of things coming at us at once, or maybe it's just the daily show. And the nature of a daily show is learning how to let go and let go more and let go more and let go more because things come at you so quickly that
Yeah,
you begin to shed that need for perfection and attachment to the outcome at certain points. Now,
that's for sure.
I've
Right.
definitely evolved. Jessica would say, if she was here on air right now, she would say, Michael, we've moved at least a handful of times together, maybe more. And Michael has never been there to help me move. He's always found a way out, or he was injured, or something came up, or he had to do something where he was not the boxer, packer, whatever. And this time I'm there right alongside her every
Okay.
step of the way. And we had something to take care of with taxes this weekend, kind of a residual thing that'll all be great. And it required us putting all this paperwork and documents and stuff together. And I'm like, well, it's not getting done. I was saying this without stress or strain. And Jessica's like, you're going to have to spearhead this one. And I was like, sticky notes and outlines and this and that and the other. And all of a sudden, it just totally came together by
Wow.
me.
Nice.
And that's, I think, kind of the evolving. Maybe it's the coaching I'm doing and those words that you share with others come right back at you. I don't know, but it's all working. Doesn't
Mm,
mean that it's all easy.
mm-hmm.
I'm much prefer to be in bed 8 or 9 o'clock at night, so I'm up at my 4 o'clock in the morning. But when I'm still up at 11 right now, dude, it is so not the end of the world.
Right. Right. Because there are going to be times where your normal routine is going to be disruptive. And in fact, that's part of the learning process is how you can actually respond to what's happening in what's needed to have happen, right? Which is
I
what
well,
happens when you have a imposed deadline, right? Like I have to leave on Friday or I have to get the book done. Like stuff happens.
they have to leave that we booked a couple weeks without interviews other than yourself and Jessica and
Mm-hmm.
one or two other guests. So it would be best to happen while I'm not doing interviews. I'll keep us to that deadline. But it's something that just seems to be a recurring theme lately. And I like going back to the movie Big Hero 6. And there's a kid in it who wants to apply to robotic school. His brother's already going to robotic school. And he has to enter this contest and see how he does in the contest.
Mm-hmm.
And he can't come up with an idea that
Mm-hmm.
he thinks is, a game winner.
Mm-hmm.
And so his brother, much bigger brother, grabs him by the ankles, flips him upside down, and dangles him upside down. And he says, look for a solution. And the kid dangling, swaying upside down, big brother, little brother, all of a sudden, because he's upside down and looking at the world a completely different way, the answers come to him.
Yeah.
And so this time right now of I'm admittedly scared, but not like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. But I've never been to this town before.
I
I've
know,
never
which is
been to the
incredible.
coast of North Carolina before. I have no idea of anything.
Right.
And so there's an element of fear, but I think that's just a good creative angst.
Yeah.
But I know that taking ourselves out of the comfort zone and throwing ourselves, like I joked in the beginning, and it's not really a joke, scaring yourself silly causes you to take, I think, giant leaps forward in our evolution.
Hmm. Hmm. I think that that's true, actually. Well, I was thinking back to my past, and whenever I feel like, I sometimes feel a calling, like, okay, I feel like I need to explore running for city council, which is what I thought about probably about 10 years ago. And I thought that actually scares the bejesus out of me. The thought of going to city council and being public and representing people. And I thought, well, okay, well, you're not going to know what it is until you throw yourself in the fire. So I started talking to people who were in city council, and I said, what's involved? And they said, you should actually do something with your neighborhood first and see if that's something that you would like. So because I thought, like, well, let's actually take a baby step to see if it's something that I even am good at. Because I thought I want to do something I'm good at and I love doing. That's all. And so I did that. And but I had to do, in order to even make those steps, to sign up for being, and I ended up being our neighborhood president. To sign up for those steps, I actually had to go through a lot of emotional work to go through the fear. But I literally would get so fearful of it that I'd almost feel like throwing up. Like it's that kind of gurgling in your stomach, like, oh my God, this so terrifies me. I feel like I may get ill. That's how bad it is. And then the next thing like that was the radio show, which I felt so ill. Like the thought of doing a radio show was just so awful to me, like so scary for me.
I got to back you up for a second because everybody's
Yeah.
going to want to know, how did it go?
How did it go? Well,
Yeah.
I have like probably an arsenal at one day of funny stories that I can tell you about the neighborhood, being the neighborhood president. And it was great because at the time, I'm like, I don't even know why I'm doing this because it was another time where I was studying mediation and going to court every day as a court mediator. I was the president of our neighborhood association, and I was taking yoga teacher training, and I was still doing coaching, all four things at the same time.
There's that
And
number four again for you. It
yeah,
seems to
yeah,
be
this is a
a
crazy, right? And I was like, I'm not sure why I'm doing all four of these things, but I must do all four of these things together. I mean, it was insane. And it was over like a 2 or 3 year period, which I was doing all four of these things. Yoga training was 1 year, but all those other three I was doing during a 2 year period, which is a long time. It's one thing when you do it over a summer and then cut things, and that was actually my lesson this past summer when I was doing four things is like, do it, but then cut off stuff that doesn't feel good. Well, for the first time I did that, I kept on doing all the things out of obligation and guilt and shaming myself, including the neighborhood association, which I really ended up not liking to do. Was I really good at it? Yes. Did I love doing it? No. Like it just felt it just did not feel good to me. And But what was interesting is I found an aspect of myself that I had lost, or not lost, but had forgotten about. That which is to actually have leadership. Because in order to lead a neighborhood to do things where they're not paid, they're angry and not paid, and you need to motivate them to get them to go and take
wow.
leadership roles and make stuff happen. I made that happen for our neighborhood because it was very like there was this one person charging up, the everything, and everyone kind of relied on him. Like, Jim, can you do this? Jim, can you do that? And then I stepped in and they're like, CJ, can you? I'm like, no, if you want to do it, then I will empower you to set up a committee. I'll get a group of people around you to support you, and you do it, because that's what a neighborhood is about. And then let's get together lists of names so we can recruit from the neighborhood. So we set up a whole different organizational structure when I started. So that was my ad. But it's a thankless task because no one ever appreciated it, and so I had to appreciate that I did it and then just then leave. But I would say that, yeah, but what I did learn about was my leadership skills, and I did learn about leading and a different type of leading, and that I have those skills, and that I did not want to do anything with politics. That's what I also learned.
So going from politics, you then decide to throw yourself on the radio.
Yeah, well, I think that if you go into like what is the base desire of the politics is actually trying to have impact at a larger level. That was always a great sense that I had after I left Microsoft, is that I know that I'm supposed to leave to do something that impacts people at a larger level and at a different level than at Microsoft. And the neighborhood was one expression of that. Because there's sometimes you have like, you're going down a path and there are many forks and you just have to decide, being a yoga teacher, being a mediator, being like, these are all different ways of going. And then it ended up being the radio show that I've stuck to for the last 5 years or so. 6 years? 5 years. 6 years come September. It seems crazy. You've done 6 years of shows in like a year, 2 years, right?
This is like show just about 590 or something like that.
590. Oh my God. Okay, so how long have you been doing it?
Year and 7 months, maybe,
Oh,
something
wow.
like that.
So you're coming
17 months.
You're coming to your 1-year anniversary soon.
Or
Wow.
2-year anniversary.
2-year anniversary. Wow. Wait, when
That'll
is your...
be September, depending on how you count it, we uploaded September 11th to bring some love and light to the world, and we went live September 14th.
And when are you moving into your new place in Emerlad Isle?
We moved there Sunday on the 8th, which I think I mentioned last week. We checked on the Chinese calendars and everything to make sure that it has
a good day.
Good energy. Yes.
Yeah, so September 8th?
That'll be May 8th.
May 8th. Okay, got it. It's when you move. No, but when do you move into your... That's like your temporary place until you move into your final, or
the lesser temporary place. So for everybody listening, we're moving to Emerlad Isle, North Carolina.
Yeah, sorry, thank you.
This coming Sunday, so it will have just passed when you're hearing this. We'll be there for 3 days setting up shop. We have manifested an amazing temporary place to stay for 4.5 months. That is a block and a half at most away from where we are staying beginning in September through May. And this gives us about an 11-month trial period to see if Emerlad Isle is where we want to plant roots for a while. Have some little sandlers running around and play with the dolphins and all that good stuff. Wow. So it's an 11-month trial for us. Wow. And that the second move we will do on September 15th.
Wow, so we'll be right around your 2-year anniversary.
Yeah, 2 years and 1 day. Yeah.
Wow.
So
okay.
It's exciting. It's butterflies. There's a lot of fear, but I know, and I'm one. I was getting my hair cut earlier today, and it wasn't even my favorite barber place. I just haven't made peace with the right barber place here, right. Except for the one time that I got this woman that was like Socrates in Dan Millman's. Share with me the name of his movie, his book. It's all
Dan Millman's
the Way of the Peaceful Warrior. Yes. Yeah. So we got Socrates one time at this place, and then she moved. She up and moved.
Oh,
I knew this woman was too good, that she wasn't real, that it was some imaginary haircut. But I was getting this haircut today, and I was noticing how much of a creature of comfort I am. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I didn't expect New Jersey to be the place for me. We came back here for Jessica's healing, but I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
And I could certainly just stay here. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, but your fitness isn't where you'd like because you have to drive so far to the trails. Mm-hmm. And you'd like blah, 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 and you'd like blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but I'd be okay with it. And I'm like, I want to challenge you on that, Michael, which I guess we are. We're moving.
Right.
But I'm like, okay with something isn't enough of a reason to stay.
That's a really good point. Yep.
And so it's really shaking myself up to, I mean, we talk about helping you to shine bright, to live your greatest life. Your greatest life is never played small and it's never played on the couch.
And,
And
and
so it's
never
why
just good enough.
never good enough. And so if somebody tells me, mentions the word comfortable, my neck snaps back.
You
I
mean when
mean,
a
there's
client says it, or when you say it, or when you say it to
all
yourself?
of the above. If you say, well, I'm very comfortable in life, then, and I believe in kind, gentle, easy, good. I believe in not fighting upstream. But I believe that when you're comfort, it's too easy to go from comfort to complacent. And all of a sudden, years of your life pass by and you don't even know it because you were going to the same barber. You were eating at the same restaurants. You were hanging with all the same people. Beautiful friends are great, but we're just not exploring, expanding, growing. We're just going to the same this and that. There's a certain amount of that that is fantastic, and we need that as a baseline foundation. Too much change, and not only are you upside down, but you're spinning like a break dancer.
Right.
But you get, I believe, you get to shake things up like Matt Kahn, one of our favorite guests. He talks about how every day you should at least do one thing differently. And I believe it is such a powerful goal to go for, because if you do one thing differently each day, then you're going to see something outside of your normal perspective every day. And that helps you step back from who you are, see more of the big picture, and step forward into that.
Right. And sometimes you don't even want to be in that place and life forces you anyways, right? In your case, you are making, well, actually probably a combination of like, okay, you're being forced to move, like you're moving, you're just like moving forward. And whether I want to, like for me, I'm kind of like, I like my comfy place. I was just thinking that, in terms of having a family, there's really nothing more meaningful in life. I mean, I've done a lot of like extraordinary things in my life, but really having kids and raising a family is one of the most extraordinary things. And it's such a wonderful period. It's such a wonderful chapter in my life. Even though there are like many ups and downs, I have just a big positive rainbow over all of it, even though there are lots of vacillations in between. And so it's hard moving from that comfortable place because there's so many, it's like that's like so far in my life. And like I said, I've had all these extraordinary times in my life. This has been one of the most extraordinary. And what's interesting is that that doesn't mean that the next chapter isn't going to be even more extraordinary, right? It's just this sense of like, how can it be even better than this? And it's funny because I've talked to a lot of spiritual people who've been on this path, and they're like, I always think like, God, I have so much love and so much incredible things in my life. I don't know if it can get any better than this. And it always does. And so I keep that in the back of my head that, wow, it always does get better. And so even though you can feel complacent because it's comfy, right? You're like in a warm bath full of snuggling and cute little kids running around. And, it can get better. And it's hard to imagine, but I believe that it can, even though part of me is like, no, it can't. I'm like, yes, it can.
Well, you're continuously resetting your baseline. So you've got your family foundation. That's
Yeah.
awesome. There's
Yeah.
no need to change that. That's a comfort that's the greatest gift in the world.
Yeah.
But on top of that, you suddenly get 4 jobs, then you start a radio show, then you get 4 jobs on top of the radio show.
Yeah.
So you're continuously
I have been,
challenging
yeah.
yourself through this. It's interesting, though, that you say, how does it get any better than this? Or you said something like that. Because lately I've been thinking of Dane here, another amazing guest we've had on the show a few times. And that is his mantra. And I've been thinking about what mantra I want to use during this time to keep the monkey mind from going crazy. And one of them has been, how does it get any better than this? I think we're establishing a new baseline. So you've built a baseline of happiness and positivity in your life. Then you challenge yourself on top of it like crazy, and you get all spun around and flipped upside down, but while maintaining your foundation.
Right.
And then you raise to the next level. It's sort of like an electron jumping states. And that's exactly what I'm talking about today. Is you get to a certain level of comfort, and then it's time to shake things up, and then boink, you go up to the next level.
Yeah.
And boink, you go up to the next level. Evolution is never this gradual movement. Even if you look at Darwin or whoever you do it, you look at animal populations, everything's sort of staying the same and then jumps up. or like we can't find the missing link in humanity from the apes. All of a sudden, boink, it just goes up. Who knows how it happens, but there are these state changes. And
Right.
I think we getting ourselves incredibly uncomfortable helps us initiate that state change.
Well, it's funny because, as you know, at the same time that I'm going through these internal changes and wondering about the unknown, they've they literally ripped down our backyard in a matter of, I think I told you a couple weeks ago, it took 10 minutes
Yeah,
to
and they
rip
wanted
down.
you to see it. They really wanted
I
you
know
to
the
see it.
universe did because I was like, oh, it got delayed. And then, like, I was the only one at home watching this whole part of my life as it existed before, all the basketball games, all the squirt gun fights, all the, soccer games that we played down there, hanging outside, like all that, like just gone in 10 minutes. And it was shocking how quickly it was destroyed. And then now, if you look in our backyard, they put the molds in for the foundation. So yesterday they just poured all the cement for creating a new foundation. And so because there's a strong foundation to build off of, I mean, it's literally the thing that you said. I was mapping it to what I've literally seen in the back of my yard. Is there's this, now they've poured this gigantic concrete. They had like 2 trucks full of concrete to fill in, and it's not even that big of a place, but you need that strong of a foundation to build up from that base. And now, I don't know what's going to happen, but it'll be really interesting because I think once the foundation gets built up, the like it gets built really quickly, and then once like all you evolve past that foundation to greater heights, then after a while, like the frame is set and it takes a long time to like get all the details integrated and finished. But it's literally the building on our house mirrors exactly what you're talking about. Really strong foundation, a little bit of chaos, and then like, things go up really quickly, and then there's just kind of settling and kind of getting into the new normal.
This sounds like a lot of the coaching work that I do. I
Yeah.
tell people that first off, I need to help you build that platform beneath you, kind of like a foundation, a platform from which the rocket can take off. If you don't have that strong base from which to take off, when the rocket tries to go up, it goes every which way, but
Yeah.
straight up into the sky. And so what you're talking about is you build that platform strong, then you have a base from which to take off from.
Yeah.
Then once you're up there, then you work on fine-tuning the details at that point.
Right. Yeah. And it's funny because this morning I was contemplating, I didn't have the time to do my own journaling this morning. But what I was contemplating is how part of what, like when your children leave, there's a lot of stuff that's changing, right? It's like you'll miss them because you love them and you'll miss them and you'll miss them. But then you're also letting go of your egoic definition as I'm, Jaida's mom. I am his mom, but no longer is that like a mom is no longer my identity. And then also coinciding to all of this stuff as I'm hitting perimenopause. So I'm also losing that part of my woman. Like I can no longer bear children. And so that's like another part that I'm losing. And then, but what has helped, what I realize also is that part of what that is a foundation, but you don't lose that foundation. Like the foundation is always there supporting you, even though the family may have been flying all over the place. They may be living in 2 different parts of the country. Live in 3 different parts of the country. The foundation is still there, but I think that sometimes we forget that foundation is what you can rest on, even though we may be living in 3 different places, because they're not, even though they're not physically here, they're still here, my heart, or just here. They're still alive.
You
So,
said something telling earlier. You were talking about identity and identity changing. And it's really not so much that the identity changing, it's that you lose the label.
yeah.
And that's actually like taking off a restrictive, I don't know why I want to say a rubber coat. And all of a sudden you're free to try on all these other different
Right.
coats, I guess, because you're not identifying yourself as I'm a this, I'm a that. It doesn't mean that you're not those things. It now means you're those things and more.
Right. I'm going to be a mom, but I think it's like, I've been used to wearing my big woolly fur, down, or I've been wearing my big furry coat, and you want me to take it off and put like that rubber jacket on or like feathers? Like, I'm scared. I think it's a
Can we
little
see in
bit
a
of
good
both.
snowboarding coat or
Yeah,
something?
exactly. So I think that it's I think that you can it's the interesting thing is that I'm trying to play the balance of being like, okay, I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm facing the unknown and I'm scared. And then also going, it's not so scary. There is definitely this kind of like each side going, I'm scared and I think it's okay for me to be scared of the unknown. And then the other part saying, well, how do you know that the unknown isn't amazing and full of magic and in fact better? How do you not know that it could be absolutely fantastic and better than what you can even imagine? So I literally vacillate between these two places. And I've been reading the Tao Te Ching because I think that's a really good book because it the kind of the book written by Lao Tzu and about Taoism is based off of it. And so I've been reading that book. A lot of the passages in that book, period, but generally the ones that I flip through. I'm like, which ones do I need to know today?
I love that.
And there's this. And there's one thing that says it's knowing that you don't know is transcendence. Not knowing that you don't know is, ignorance.
Ignorance.
It's like, yeah, I know that I don't know. And I also, yeah, so that's been like, okay, I know that I don't know. And that at some level, knowing that is transcendence and to be at peace, for yourself. You're going to a place that you've never been to and you're going to live for 11 months,
And I'll love it. No
Yeah,
matter what, I'll love it. Whether I decide to live there longer or not, I know we all have the ability to be chameleons and to make
right.
peace with wherever we are.
Yeah.
And so I'll do my chameleon best. But I'm betting it's my theme lately. I don't even know if lately is a thing. One of the things I want to say proud, but then there's ego involved. Whatever. I'm more and more an empty cup.
hmm
So, particularly good as you're drinking from your cup there.
Yes.
So that I know that what I knew yesterday is probably 100% wrong.
Right.
And anything I think I know today is probably 100% wrong. The essence may be right. The direction may be right. But there's a continually knowing and learning and growing. And so I don't pretend to have the definitive answer on anything, at least in my life, certainly. Well, I certainly couldn't say that about anybody else's as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
But it
And
helps
even
us.
and even going back to that was right and that was wrong. What the thing you thought was right may be wrong, and the thing that was wrong may be right. You know what I mean? That's what I love about Taoism because you read it and go like, "What?" And you're like, "Oh."
And then if we go long term on it, I hate to say this, but there is no wrong and right.
Right, that's what I mean. There is nothing. It's just it is what it is, and what's
There you
emerging is
go.
going to emerge. And whether you try to do something or not try to do something, it will still emerge. What is naturally going to emerge is going to emerge. The only thing you can do is either resist it or allow it and surrender into it. That's really like that's your only business, right? The rest of it is like that's not your business. It's either going to come through you and you allow and surrender and open up to it, or you go, no, 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 and you tap down because you were saying in the very beginning, right? That fear is the like, I want to protect myself. No, I can't do that. No, it's going to be awful when I move into my phase 4 of my life because it won't be what I'm familiar with and my comfy furry coat, like, but so what have you been doing? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, look, I was just going to use the example of silver, the Honda that I feel embarrassed that I've spoken about way too much. The Honda that took on water a few weeks ago,
Yes.
and silver was an example of resist or allow, and it came down through a series of circumstances that it was really best to donate silver,
Oh, you've
and
actually donated it. Okay, I didn't
she
realize
she
that.
went away yesterday.
Oh, buy
I
silver.
know, and silver was my freedom mobile here, and
Yeah.
and is so special in my heart. But she went away yesterday, and she went away to Chabad, a good Jewish organization, nonprofit, does a lot of good in the world. And I actually felt so good because unlike there were some organizations, and originally she was going to go to the VA, which is probably going to auction her off for parts, Chabad is actually going to resurrect her. and have
Oh,
her go to a good home.
oh,
And
nice.
that just felt so right. I
Yeah.
forgot to take photos of her at the end.
Oh,
I sort of said goodbye, but I wasn't in a state of sorrow or disappointment. I was in a state of real contentment or happiness about her
mm,
going away. Know that she was
mm,
going to get a good home and give somebody else many more miles of enjoyment as well. So I just felt great about the
mm.
allowance versus before I could have resisted. No, we're going to do whatever we can
Right.
but I just allowed.
Yeah. It's like you're surrendering. It needs to go. And who knows, like that person who gets that car may have even more freedom than you had as a result of having that car. Who knows what's going to happen?
So, and it was allowing, we already have chosen our next vehicle. We haven't purchased her yet, but we've already
You
chosen.
have?
It made room. Yeah, we're not, we don't, we make decisions quickly now.
Yeah.
That might be a result of the Daily Show. And so we can hone in sort of like that plane that's off track 95% of the
Yeah.
time. You hone in on your target, and we figured out what our target was, and it came about very quickly. In fact, it came up earlier in my consciousness while you were talking about your kids and crying, and I thought this is just such a terrible comparison. Don't bring it up now. But I was out test driving a car on Saturday, and the one thing you don't want to do in front of the salesman is cry because you like it so much. And I started crying because it was a truth.
Oh
Truth,
my
I
God.
cry. When it touches my heart, I
That's
cry.
sweet. Okay,
So
so what was truthful about driving that car? Like it just what did it feel like?
it felt like an extension of me. Like
Oh.
it's my personality right now. It's what I want for now. Eventually, I want a real sporty electric car. Tesla's making boats right now. When they have
Mm-hmm.
more sporty electric cars on something smaller and at a maybe they'll have a 3 Series eventually. Then maybe that I get that. Just the
Right.
Luxo Cruiser
Right.
isn't really my thing right now.
Right.
So we were looking at tiny little baby beamers, and I've owned a
Oh.
few baby beamers before,
Right.
and I like small cars, and I got in this little thing, little convertible, little
Oh,
1 Series car. It had the back seats. It had the I don't even know if not IS something attachment for the baby seat. So
You're
Jessica,
gonna drive in a convertible with a baby. Yeah, talk to me a year from now.
we'll see what Jessica says at that point.
Good luck with that one. Enjoy it while you still have it.
But at least it's got the seats. My dad sold his Sunbeam convertible when I was on the way, and he regrets
And you'll
that to
love it.
this
In,
day.
in North Carolina, you'll have, I have a friend who has a convertible, and he said he moved from New York City, and he said, this is my consolation prize. Like I said, no, if I'm moving down from New York to North Carolina, Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina, I get a convertible. And he said that he is able to enjoy that convertible like almost like 9 to 10 months out of the year. So you'll enjoy it until the baby comes, and then it will say, you'll say goodbye to that car.
And I know life is temporary. Everything is temporary, and there won't be attachment. And just because I love it today, I'm totally down with that. But it was fun to see. Okay, decision made.
Right,
Now, can you purchase before you move? Probably not. And unfortunately, there aren't many Beamers for sale down there. They're all up here.
right.
But if I know anything from us finding a place down there, because I've already I picked out it sounds so vain, but I'm okay with it. I picked out the color, the interior, everything. I'm getting I'll get a 2013, so it's not a new car where there's another hit on the environment
Right,
and hit on the wallet for that matter. I
right.
feel great about it. And so
Yeah.
we'll manifest the right one either right when we get settled or a few months down the road. I did give myself a deadline. August 25th, my birthday.
It's gonna. I just have because I know how you work, right? Like you're like, I'm just gonna manifest it, and like either one of two things will happen: either someone will send you a miniature convert, like a little car
I
version
needed to
of
be more
it.
specific. We've got it down. We've looked up the VIN number and wrote all the.
Okay, so it's actually you try to manifest a real car. I still am laughing about having a washboard stomach and having it move for the fat mover from your front to your back. I just
And last week we were packing up a baseball card collection that was gifted to us,
Hmm.
and it did have three miniature cars with the baseball collection. One which was a Porsche. So you're right. You got to be careful
You
on
have to
that
be
one.
careful, but and just for folks that are listening, so Michael last week was telling me how he has noticed during the you may be going through stress eating like myself, and that you were trying to like take the fat and remove and imagine a washboard stomach, but then somehow when you manifested it, the fat had moved
I
to your
got love
back.
handles on my back. Yes.
Just- I don't think
I've
that's
been running more this week, CJ.
well. The reason why I'm laughing is because as I was saying, like there was just these moments of like just crying, so like crying, and then laughing so hard that I'm almost cannot stop laughing because it's just so funny. And that one thing about the manifesting from the front to the back, I think I've gotten like four good laughs out of that over the last week. So God bless, God bless that story.
Laughing at my expense for your amusement. Happy to honor you.
Well, we're both gone now, so right, so you're
Oh,
fine.
it's fine. It's all good. Even that is good. And I know that I will get in better shape when I'm down there. It's coming so clearly. I wanted to be on the water to swim. I wanted to be around nature to run. So it's all good. There's it's the ebb and flow of the tides.
Yeah.
It's a total ebb and flow of the times, and I have such a belief that we are not what we see today. We're eternal beings having a human experience. But if we want to change our bodies, we can change it. If we want to whatever, we can change that. So the big thing is not to just accept, well, now I'm Mr. Love Handles on my back.
Right. Well, okay, so can I tell you one thing quickly? And I want to talk about your three cats, a moving truck, and on your walkie-talkies. So I will not forget those things. But I'm having a hard time with my weight. Usually, I pop up to a certain weight after major indulgences during birthdays and whatever, and then I can actually pop down if I actually eat well and just exercise and just with a little bit of effort, I can pop down. And I have not been able to pop down. I've just popped up and then I'm like up, and then I've been popped up, up, up. I'm okay. I gotta do something like otherwise, and all the usual tricks are not working, or I don't have the stamina, or I just don't have the discipline at this point. So I thought I have to reach out for help because I'm at a point where I can't do it on my own. So in Seattle, there's a group that is started up by Lee Hood, who is the guy who founded Genentech, and he's doing all this research on genetics and understanding how you can actually change your genetic future. Like, so instead of being, I'm probably predisposed to having diabetes because my dad had diabetes, but what can I do with my eating, nutrition habits, whatever, so that I won't get diabetes. So they do blood DNA sequencing, looking at your biomes, and then actually figuring out like small adjustments and customizing your diet so that you know which foods are your trigger foods, what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat, when to eat, like all those kinds of things. So I'm super excited. I'm going to be doing that over the next year. So I'll be able to report on that. So it's super
Very, very
exciting.
cool. How
Yeah.
about a personal trainer or a coach in the health arena to help you to have some sort of an accountability
Yeah,
partner?
it's part of the
And
program.
so for the health side of things, for the exercise of part side of things.
Yes, yeah. Well,
Awesome.
yeah, I'm actually pretty good about the exercise stuff, but I'm sure that this person will help kind of offer like so you actually have a health coach in addition to it. So I'm going to have that over a year's period of kind of looking. So I feel like I'm kind of excited because this stuff is like still on. It's like it's in the pioneering stage. They don't know for certain what the science is behind this, but I'm a kind of a lab rat, so to speak. They don't call it that, but I understand that fundamentally I'm a lab rat trying to figure out, can I make these changes in my 50s and prevent something from happening in my 90s or 100s by addressing those issues earlier? So I'm not sure. I don't think they are sure. And I'm excited to be part of an experiment, to be part of science and helping gather the data so that they know. So I'm excited about that. I'm super excited
Woohoo!
about that. Woohoo!
Keep us updated. The
Yeah.
last thought I have on it, because I can't help but
Yes.
throwing on my coach's hat
Yes.
from a physical fitness point of view, which is have you considered doing more weight training now?
No, I probably should. I do some weight training like 2 times a week, but maybe I should do more in
if
yoga.
if we start to really get you stronger, we're
Yeah.
going to change your metabolism. We're going to do wonderful things for your bone density now rather than later. We
Hmm.
do wonderful things for your blood sugar level. And I think most importantly, as you start to build muscle, the hormones that are released, so to speak, end up basically rolling back the years. It reminds your body of what it was when you were younger, when you were still growing, when you were still getting strong.
Oh,
That's what
interesting.
we had to do for Jessica, for
Huh.
example, to get her to flick the on switch for life after she'd been sick with her autoimmune condition for years.
Oh.
Getting her back to the gym and lifting weights was huge.
Okay, well, I have to talk to you. Maybe you can be my coach for the health, the weight part, because this person's not
I'd be
doing
honored.
it.
I'd
So,
be honored.
yeah, so that I haven't figured that piece out yet. Okay, back to you, cats. And I know that you talked about walkie-talkies last week, but did you buy them?
Power on. 3.
You're
So
so-
we've got these. These have a I don't know how many mile range. We've tested them. She stayed in the house. I drove miles away, and we got 2.5 miles with her in the house and me in the car, which was kind of cool. I mean, she's going to be driving right in front of me with three cats and three little dome carriers in the car, and I'll be in my little 16-foot truck. And it's going to be a fun little adventure. I think
Yeah.
that'll be coming up Sunday morning. What a journey into the unknown.
I have to say, just in closing, is that I think that when you are the scaredest of moving forward, that is exactly where you need to be. You are on target for your destiny. I can tell you with certainty in every time of my life when I feel that throw up scary, like I'm terrified to do it, it's reinforcement like that is you're moving closer to your path. And I think that and on your path to living big. So I can tell you with my own personal life that every time I've reached a terrified scare point is the best possible thing around the corner for sure.
Woohoo! Not to try to belabor this going, but when you stepped forward, I am sure that on the other side, you had more confidence and courage to take future steps because you did it and you made it and
Yes.
you survived and you thrived because of it.
Yeah, you have to be willing to do the very first time, and that builds a foundation for you to know the next time, yep, that's I did it before and I can do it again. And the next time going like I now have a set of experiences to know that this is true. And it's not until you do the very first time when you say, "You know what? I don't know. I know that I don't know, and that's transcendence, and I'm going to make the step." And like you said, it doesn't have to be like ripping down the foundations. Take a baby step at first. And then after you take a bunch of baby steps, all of a sudden you'll be there. Or you can take one gigantic leap. Either way works, depending on the person, frankly.
It's sounding like the idea that's coming into my head is all of life is an adventure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Woo!
Woo! All right, bon voyage.
For everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler
And
and
CJ Lou.
saying, be well, have fun, step off that cliff, metaphorically speaking, and scare yourself silly. Metaphorically, people. And shine bright.
Woo!
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show and would love your support in any way by giving me comments below or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.